Hello. Good part 2. Because I decided to re-record this. I'm wearing a shirt. Don't worry. Let's get into this. So what you'll need, I found the correct foundation that I was talking about, by the way. But what you need is foundation, concealer, primer, beauty blender, or your fingers will be fine. Just make sure they're clean. Eyebrow brush. Translucent powder. It has to be translucent. I think the skin colored ones are very dumb. It's hard to match your skin color. So try to get the translucent e.l.f. one. Pressed powder. Don't get the loose stuff. Sorry if I look kind of crazy. I don't like having my bangs up, but I want you to be able to see everything. So let's get started. I'm gonna use my regular one because this is actually not my skin color. That's why I don't use this one. I forgot. So to get started, we're gonna take our primer, middle finger, put a big old booger on there. Rub it between your other finger, and then tap underneath your eyes and kind of smear it out and tap. My cat just went into the bathtub. And then we're gonna get another booger. Middle fingers, same thing on our lower cheeks, kind of smear tap. Another one on our chin, smear, kind of tap. Another little bit for our eyeballs. If you need to go on your forehead, go ahead, but I don't. And underneath that eye a little bit again. And then just a teeny tiny bit more. Smear it all over that nose. Make sure you get the creases. And then, while it's still kind of sticky, just smack your face. Yes, even your eyelids. That part kind of hurts. I promise, I don't know why, but I promise it does it better. Okay. And sometimes I just like to blow it on a little bit with my hands. So now, hi kitty. We're gonna take our handy dandy concealer in our handy dandy hand. Put like a couple pumps on there, like 3 or 4 maybe. And then take your beauty blender. Some people say to get it a little bit damp and it won't absorb as much product so you don't waste so much. I don't do that though because I'm afraid of it getting moldy. I don't know. So you can do that, see how it works, but I don't, so you can just directly go onto it just a little bit. I usually start right here on my under eye, starting from right underneath that middle part and dragging it out so it kind of looks like an eye mask. And then we're just gonna keep bringing it out with little taps and kind of smudge in the edges with more little taps until it doesn't really go anywhere. And then the inside, make sure it's not too thick anywhere. Bring it out, inside, out. So we can kind of see that coverage. Honestly, I don't even think this is my color anymore. I need to get better makeup. I don't wear a full face of regular skin tone anymore. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So big right here, bring it out all the way underneath. And then smudge and blend. Down and out. And make sure you can kind of see how it was thick, and I'm bringing it out right underneath my eye. Don't be afraid of it getting in your eyeball. Just like that. I usually just kind of swipe it up. So now that's done. We're gonna go down to our cheeks. I just put a couple dots in the middle and just go in a big circular motion, covering as much as I can, but not making it too thick. And here's where we kind of go around where we were just working, up to the edges of our face, and then onto our lips. You don't want it too thick around your lips. And then make sure that with the tip of that, you get right in that crease right here, because that doesn't like to stick very well. You don't want it too covered right here. Mostly our bright points are going to be this kind of like T shape. So eyes, mouth, and nose. So again, just a couple dots right here, and then going in a circular motion all around. Bring it over to our lips and that crease, and then up a little bit to the edges of our face. And if it's not super saturated, it's kind of patchy, just go over it again with a little tiny amount. And then I'll do my chin, just kind of like how before, just a dot in the middle and then blend it out to the edges, thinking of our T of brightness. And then don't forget to bring it underneath your chin too. You don't want to look crazy and have a colorful chin and then just nothing right here. I've done it, caught myself, it looks bad. So just bring it underneath your chin and blend it into your neck. And here's a good point. Try to match your foundation and concealer to your neck color. So you can kind of see already, that's not very matchy. I'm a pink tone, and they don't really make pink tones all that much. I'm not gonna get any special makeup right now. So we're gonna have to just work with it, but try your best to match it to your neck because it'll blend into one solid color. Like if you're wearing a shirt with a collar, all you'll see above is your neck fading blendlessly, your neck blending seamlessly into your face. So we're just gonna go over these spots that we just did, like our little lips, our crease, chin, some of our cheeks, with just whatever leftover makeup is on that sponge from what we just did. And now I'm basically out. So I'm just gonna put like one little squeeze more. Not too thick on the sponge. And then we're just gonna go down the middle of our nose, like that. And then with the leftover, I just kind of swipe across my eyebrows. And then we're gonna just take this middle piece and go back and forth and blend it into the sides. Try to make it not look like there's a line down your nose, but it's still super bright in the middle. And then kind of go in a circular motion around the tip of your nose to make it a little more rounded. I know you don't have a bridge, but I think I know you have an eyebrow piercing. Good tip for that. Q-tips. Just glab it on there and just very gently go around it. Not exactly close to it, but enough that you can't tell that it's just a fucking piercing right there and it's like actually the same color. And then I'm just gonna go over my eyebrows a little bit better. And you can bring it up to your forehead, obviously, not too much. I like to keep it very seamless right there. Just like so. And notice how I have not touched my eyelid yet. So if you have anything else, just bring it on your thing and just kind of fill in any gaps that aren't too satisfactory. My nose doesn't like to stick very well with products, so I go over it a lot, honestly. Alright, so this looks good enough. If you want to, you can go over it with some setting powder. You don't have to, but if you are going to, just get the cheeks, under eyes, and nose. That's all that really matters. It'll just like provide an extra kind of support to the foundation. So now we'll do our concealer. Ugh, my back hurts. Yeah. So this is where we start going in with our eyes now. I do this first because it's kind of annoying. So take not a hefty glob, but just enough. One right in the middle, one on the side. Same thing here. You can do this one at a time. I just do it both because why not? I try to go pretty fast with my makeup. So anyways, start from this first dot and fill in the inside of your eyeball and then bring it out. That second dot is just kind of a support to make sure you don't run out. But you want it most concentrated right in that center focus. Same thing over here. Just really tap into that inner eye and then bring it out. Make sure you're blending it a little bit up into the eyebrows, but not too much. You still want it focused on your eyelid. But this is why it's important to kind of match your concealer shade to your foundation, but just like the tiniest shade lighter if you can. Because this will make your eyes pop more. Because it's just a tiny bit lighter. You can kind of tell. So now, with that same concealer, we're going to do the rest. And we're going to think about that T shape I've been talking about. I just go down the sides of my nose a little. My under eye just a little bit. Tip of my nose. And my chin. Makes a T. I usually start with my eyes because they're the most annoying. Just go underneath in that U shape, kind of like we did before in the foundation. Like so. And then just blend on the sides. I personally like to give my bridge some definition. So doing the sides kind of like gives a good bridge down the nose. But obviously try to blend it up. Don't go down, try to go up for your nose. Same thing with this tip, kind of tap up and round it around the corners. Yeah. Try not to smear, still like tap, but just like push up with your nose. And then the chin, just out to the sides in a horizontal motion. Bring it up. Sometimes I bring it a little bit over. Oh yeah. That's about as much concealer as you really need. If you want it brighter anywhere else, don't use too much, but you can just like do little tiny dots everywhere. And just try to, again, upward tap motions. It just kind of lifts the face. So now, here's where I go into with my e.l.f. setting powder. And we'll take like, I usually use a flat brush because it picks up more surface area. But you can use like a big fat rounded one too. That's a little softer on your skin. But just try to get like a whole bunch on your brush. You can see it. It's translucent though, I promise. It's not white. And then I always start with my under eyes right here. I have a bad problem of this crease right here just always falling off and being weird. So I try to go really heavy right here and just set it the fuck in. Alright, so again, bunch, tap, 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 all over as much as I can. tap, tap, swipey, swipey, swipe. And then my actual eyelids, same kind of thing. I like to curve around my eyeball. I don't think that really matters, but it feels nice to me. Obviously, don't like slam it on your face, just little taps. And just cover it all over everywhere that you put makeup on. Same thing with my nose. It just doesn't like to stick very well. So I coat that bitch. Sometimes it makes me sneeze, but it's very necessary. Get all the way in the creases and up your nose, basically. That should be good enough. Okay. Sorry, my back hurts so bad. But let me think. I guess I'll show a demonstration of like a semi-contour or a blush that I could do for you. So most likely you'll want to use a sort of like light tan mocha color. I'm going to use this really like pale tan kind of grayish color for mine. I go well with a lot of mauves and like dusty rose colors. So for my contour, I do not do a lot. I don't do it like all over my face like some girls do, and I don't think you should either personally if you're going for a more alternative look. So what I do is I like to make this part of my face really sharp, and I go from right underneath my brow bone. I know it's hard to tell because I don't have eyebrows, but I just kind of make it a little bit heavy right here, like there would be a shadow, and then kind of with the flat brush just tap that on and then turn it to its side like this and taper it down to the sides of your nose. It should be very subtle, so do not overdo this for any regular day looks. Like this one you can see a little bit more just because I'm trying to demonstrate, but don't do it too much, because most of the time it looks a little crazy in my opinion. That's why I don't do it too often. But so like again, just on that very under brow area with the flat, I go in and then I turn my brush to the side and taper it down. Try to get it as even as you can. That usually makes it look a little better. But you can always go back over with any leftover makeup on your sponge and fix up those tapered edges and just kind of make it smoother and more blended in. And then on the like cheekbones is where I usually do it next. Not too much though, just a little bit, and I just kind of barely tap it, make it a little bit thicker and what do you call it, more faded up here, and again sort of like a taper down with just little wispies. This is kind of more gothic though, so you don't have to do it, but I just wanted to show you anyways. The last thing that I do with any contour is right under my nose with kind of like the sides. I just kind of make like this little V shape under my nose, kind of like a catty nose. Just very subtle though. You can kind of tell. Next, let me show you some blush. Always have like a round brush. And I'm just gonna use this bright pink for demonstration only. Don't get too much. But I usually just kind of the same technique that I use for the contour. Just go under my nose like this, kind of like a little cat nose. Just like that. Iconic. Don't go too far over or under. What are you doing?
Trying to stay out of the video.
Oh.
The princess shit outside of the fucking box again.
Oh my god. Sorry if you heard that. But yeah, just like right underneath and kind of work around the curve of the tip of your nose in a U shape. And then you can do the same over here. Usually I'll use a big brush like that and just kind of tap it all over and then stop right about here. I'm not gonna do that right now. And so anyways, that's about all that I need to show you. I might send you another video if you want an eye makeup look. But that's pretty much it for, you know, foundation, concealer, full face, like the base. I guess another thing you can use is a setting spray. This is that NYX waterproof one. It's matte setting spray. So I usually just, you know, shut my eyes and close my mouth. 1, 2. I hate this stuff. If you really want it to be like super locked in, 3 and 4, like there on the sides. But then kind of keep your eyes squinted and just blow on it a little bit with your hands. So you can't really feel it too much anymore. And then you should be good. And if you need to, just go over with more setting powder or more concealer. Try not to use more foundation unless the concealer's too bright. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yay!